Hi, it's your PsychoBuddy. Here we are with David Cassidy, the med student researcher who is looking into how spirituality can help us heal from or recover from psychotic episodes. So, with that, go for it.
All right. Well, I was looking at some of our conversation from last time, and there were a couple of questions I pulled from it, which was you mentioned how a neuropsychologist told you that you weren't sick, that there was nothing wrong with you, and you said that was really powerful for you at the time. I actually wondered if you could explain that a bit more, why that message is so powerful.
Yeah, certainly. Um, in my case, every time I have to be very judicious about what diagnosis I consider true because when I think that I have a disorder, my behaviors align with the symptoms of that disorder. So I have to be really choosy. Like for when I thought that when I was the first diagnosis was complex post-traumatic stress disorder. When I thought that it was bipolar, which was the second diagnosis, then it aligned with, you know, mania and not sleeping and the basically there I have such a constellation of different behaviors that fall into these buckets of these different disorders that I've been diagnosed everything and it stops being very useful. When the neuropsychologist told me to identify as healthy, when she spent
Mhm.
2 years like putting all her time into convincing me that I am vibrantly healthy at the core. And that was really healing because I have such a negative judgment on myself around being mentally ill. Even the phrase, like I think I told you, but did I tell you about with the twist of lime last time?
Yeah, you did. You
Okay,
did.
so yeah, my twist of lime, because you can throw any label at it you want and it'll stick on the wall somewhere.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna go with my twist of lime. She's the one, that neuropsychologist is the one where I got my core definition of mental health, which is that turning toward the sun. If the core of the organism wants to be healthy and has enough living tissue left to turn toward health, then that organism is healthy in a very core sense. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, even if you've got all this
Mm.
other disease and shit and suffering to deal with, so long as the core is turning toward well being, is turning toward connection, that's where my healing is. Then, then I truly am healthy. And what happened after I worked with her, I went back into a psychopathology paradigm, but it is different. So I understand myself differently. Can I leap into a totally different story?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that's related. So I came up to the reservation for a peyote healing, and I was telling you about it, the poetry from the spirits, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What I hadn't told you, my name in Arapaho, Niha Nai Ise, means yellow cloud woman. I was named after the golden peach orange of the sunlight in the morning and the sunrise. And I was learning Arapaho at the bedside of the healer, the one of the four old men, one of the like the chiefs of the Arapaho Nation. This light keeps doing weird things. Um, so he named me Yellow Cloud. So that poem at the cemetery, when the spirits, I was grieving for all of the pain and death on Wind River Indian Reservation in the United States in Wyoming. And I was just crying, and I could hear this poetry just going on and on and on, and like dialing into a radio. And the one little bit that I kept, because I was really weirded out by it. So I should have just, if I had just like turned on my voice recorder and just recorded it, that's how those big long epics that they used. Remember those European poets who would write hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah, like
pages?
Homer and things like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It could have been like that. But instead I just had this little bit and it went, the spirits were talking to me and they said, we will dream the old dream. No, we will sleep the old sleep. We will dream the old dream where the children are laughing and the great eagles scream and the yellow cloud floats in her sky overhead through the land of the living and the realms of the dead. And that night, that evening, I went over to the house where the peyote ceremony was going to be. So, peyote ceremony on Wind River Indian Reservation is held in a teepee, and you go in. It's a Native American church meeting. You go in the evening at about 8 p.m. after dinner, and then it doesn't end until 10 a.m. the next day, and you don't sleep. Um, And I was like, I in all the 18 years I've been on the res, I've never done one, or I had only done one, but it hadn't been a real one. And the reason that I never did it was because I didn't want peyote to send me psychotic again, basically, because I have to take antipsychotics every day
Hmm.
in order to prevent my brain from touching God. So I was very, very cautious about um, trying to get it there. So I was thinking, okay, I was like, oh, super, super jazzed about it. I was like looking forward to talking to my mom again. My mom has died. I was really looking forward to it. And it was because also I'm in Narcotics Anonymous, so I don't do any drugs or alcohol. But this for me, peyote is part of prayer. So I was like, I'm going to get to really touch God. I was looking forward to it. And then as part of the whole ceremony, I've been asked to stay private about what happens. But after I took the peyote, I was like, okay, when's it gonna happen? Like, and in my brain on the at the cemetery had been all like super spiritual, perceiving all these spirits. So I was like, okay, when's it gonna happen? Instead of getting, instead of all the fireworks and getting to talk to my mom and everything, my mind got really, really clear cut, like really clear cut. And that instead of tripping or all that jazz, I got really focused. And then I got super tired and I couldn't stay awake. So no tripping, no fireworks, no nothing, just really, really tired. And so they cedared me out, which is well, they made it okay for me to leave the group. And
Hmm.
so me and my son, my Arapaho son, who was with me, went in and fell asleep on a couch in the house of the lady who was throwing it. In the morning, when I woke up, okay, so the angels has been telling me the spirits have been telling me all day, when you wake up, you're going to be an angel. Are you ready? And I was like, yeah, I've done that. I did that once before. I haven't told you that story yet, but I did that once before. And I was like, yeah, sure, I can handle being an angel. I'll just go to the hospital if I need to. It'll all be good. When I woke up the next morning, I had at first I was just like, something was strange and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then it was about 30 minutes after being awake, I was telling somebody, I think I was like, I know, I filmed a PsychoBuddy that I've never posted because it's filmed inside a TP and I can't do that. And, but I was filming a PsychoBuddy and I was explaining how it felt. I realized the reason I felt so weird was I was alone. I was alone in my body. There was only one me. Like after I had been having this multiplicity of self and all of the spirits and all that jazz. And then I went to sleep and I woke up and it was me. And it was the difference between the way that I saw myself before was like being composed of a bunch of flowers in a bouquet, being composed of all these different, distinct, beautiful flowers. But then when I woke up that morning, instead of being composed of those flowers, I was the stuff of which those flowers was composed. So I went from being multiple to singular, but still composing the same things that I was. And at first I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And it was weird. And it continued to be weird. What happened was like, I definitely think it was I mean, it was definitely a healing. It happened like that. But I didn't know how to be that way. And so what ended up happening was I felt cut off from the parts of myself. I felt like I couldn't. There's another part of myself that wants to talk here. Are you okay with talking to another part of my dissociative identity disorder system?
Yeah.
Okay. You are the Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
You are the Daniel. My name is Sweepy.
Right, sweet pea, is that what we said? All right.
And she was oh Finn was telling you that how the Daniel, am I gonna get in trouble for talking to you?
No?
Like, as no, somebody said that if they, when people have the little people and they put them on YouTube, then people may get mean about that.
I said no, I'm not going to put this on YouTube.
All right, all right. Um, so then Finn wanted, she was telling you that when after on the reservation, and then in the off, she went from being the flowers to being the stuff that the flowers are made of. Yeah, but I could not talk anymore. I, all of the me's, the little parts, won't, did not have our own voice. All of our voices were mushed into her voice. And so she could not hear us anymore. And that was yucky.
Right. And what was that like?
I don't know how to say it. Because I could see what she was going through, but I could not, I did not have a voice. I was there, I was watching it. And then she started to think a bunch about put, putting a gun against her eye in a river and killing herself in a river so that her family would not find her body. And all of the different parts of her, we all wanted to hold her. But it was the only thing she could think about over and over was her killing herself.
Right. And how did you get from where you were before to where you are now?
Then decided that she wanted us back. Then decided
Mm.
that she did not like being healed. She did not like being
Mm.
all squished into one. And so then she said, then I want my parts back. And then every time that I talk, her husband is, her husband Biden, he says, hi, sweetie. And he's always really happy to say hi to me. So I came back forced. I came back forced. And then there's a couple of levels that are really helpful that came back to. But mostly, Finn does not know this, but mostly all of the different me's are still ingraded. They're still together in one.
Hmm.
But there's just a couple flowers. Just a couple flowers.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let Finn come back to you, all right?
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Sweepy likes to talk.
Oh, good.
Oh, she just likes to talk. I'm trying to remember what was the question that you originally asked me that got me off thinking about that whole integration
Um,
the healed thing.
it was. Oh, I originally asked you about when you said before about how the neuropsychologist said that you weren't sick, and then and then you were telling the story about the flowers, the bouquet,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yes.
actually so I'm aware of time because I've still got some of the other questions left, which are trying to think. I'm trying to figure out where we got up to last time. So I asked you this. That's that. Was there anything about your spirituality that wasn't helpful? Did I ask you that last time? Can't remember. I might have gone off script a bit.
It's a really interesting question. I guess the only thing that's not helpful, I need to engage in spiritual, like to intentionally engage in a consistent spiritual practice in a way that I don't yet. I don't put time, I need to set time aside in a consistent, dedicated way because spirituality is so healing and so helpful for me. But so often it just happens whenever it happens, or I don't feed that. And I should really I think I would be better off if I did. I can't think of any. I'm not, I have this really, really blessed perspective where in my world there is no evil. There's no evil in my world. So there's there's love and there's the absence of love, but in the same way that there's a motivating force of heat, right? Molecules move. But there is no motivating force of cold. Cold is the absence of heat. There's a motivating force of light. There's photons. There's no motivating force of darkness. It's just the absence of photons. So for me, there is no evil. There's only the absence of love and kindness. And the result of that is I'm not, my spirituality doesn't scare me because with only one exception, I never experience evil spirits and that kind of thing. It just isn't part of my world. And I'm extremely grateful for that.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who says like um who found spiritual like unhelpful? Like what would you say is as to why it might be unhelpful for someone else?
Why spirituality could be unhelpful to someone else? Because a lot of
Mm,
people are, when you're open to spirits in a psychotic way, a lot of people are hounded by by demons that are real in their world. A lot of people have extremely terrifying or the self-abusive, the negative command hallucinations, um, delusions of persecution or of all the different things, all the different ways our brains can torture us. When you're in psychosis, those things can be more real than this conversation. That those things can be incredibly real. I did have one If you want me to tell you about it, I can. I did have one really, really um, disturbing psychotic. Um, I was hospitalized for, and that was when they finally decided to put me on electroconvulsive therapy. So I definitely do know what that kind of fear is like. And I think that most people who go through multiple psychoses have negative ones. And I just kind of lucked out on that end.
Right. So I guess with that in mind, like if someone was, I guess sort of like recently recovering from psychosis, was looking to say to look into spirituality and see what it could do for them, what would your advice be to them to getting started?
Okay. My advice. So do this with me, Daniel. Close your eyes
Mm,
and imagine that everything around you is a really peaceful, light blue light. So look into the darkness of your closed eyes and imagine that you can see far, far, far this light blue light all around you. And then the boundaries of your ego, the boundaries of your identity dissolve. And you and this light blue light that is around you 360 degrees and above you and below you. And you can feel it wash through you. And you are it. And you can feel this light understands you. And there's no way to hide anything because it knows what it's part of you. You are it. So everything you think, it knows, it understands all the decisions that you've made. Every little decision, the things that you did when you were a little bitty kid, the things that you've done that you aren't proud of or that you wish you'd done differently, times that you didn't live up to being a good son or being a good person in the way that you want to be. This light sees everything. And you can feel that it knows why you did what you did. It understands all of your choices. Everything that you've tried to hide, it sees that. It understands it. And you keep looking into this light, and this light grows stronger around you, this deep, bright blue inside you and all around you. And as it gets brighter, you can feel that not only does it know everything about you, know everything you've done, not only does it understand why you've made every choice you've ever made, why you are the person that you are, but it loves you. And it doesn't just love you like, hey, I love you too, bye. It finds you precious. It finds you delightful. It takes delight. It takes joy in you. You are the cause of joy. And all of your decisions, all of your stories, all of your details are seen, are known, understood, and found precious. And you can feel that. Everything you ever felt guilty for is understood, and you are found precious, precious, the source of joy. And we stay with that. Feel that preciousness, that gift that you are. You can open your eyes. That would be how I would start.
So that was lovely. How did you learn to like I don't know do that or like how did you learn to I don't know that felt like professional like that, I feel like I should have paid for that. Like,
Thanks.
like, so
Um,
like is that advice? I just get right in it and do it. Is that what?
yeah, the reason that I would go there is that that's I just walked you through how it felt in the first psychosis for me when that's what it was a non-vicarious experience of God, was experiencing something, taking great joy in every detail of myself. So that's what I would do to help someone turn. And I guess the reason is because when you're in a place where spirituality is scaring the shit out of you, it really is terrifying because nothing can get in between the psychosis and you. The psychosis is in you. So nothing can protect you from the psychosis. And I had that experience when they drugged me up as much as they could, but the nightmare psychosis kept getting worse, and there was no way anybody could keep me safe, and that really is terrifying. So the first thing that I would do to help someone who's had a vulnerable, scary psychosis reorient to spirituality as a positive thing would be to give them what I just gave you, that experience of divine love, of being completely loved.
Ooh, okay. Um, trying to trying to trying to see. We've almost got. I think we've done pretty much all the prepared questions I've got. Is there anything else that you'd like to just to share or add to anything that you've said?
I'm very grateful to you for bringing legitimacy to, I guess that as I see it, you're bringing this conversation for me. The psychotic spirituality itself is healing. So in a way, psychosis itself is where the healing power rests. And it's incredibly difficult to untangle in your mind the this is who I am, this is what reality is after you go through psychosis. But one thing that makes it much more difficult is that we are taught to think that crazy is bad. And, we have these historical Jeanne d'Arc, Joan of Arc, we have these historical saints who obviously, if they lived now, would be dosed up on antipsychotics in a ward somewhere. And somehow those saints were admirable, but we are broken and crazy. And it just is, I think what you're doing when you're looking into the wisdom to find the key to healing from all of um, the crisis that surrounds the breaking of a mind. It's putting legitimacy where legitimacy belongs. I think I can't remember. There's a Shakespeare quote, and I can't. You probably know it. And I cannot remember what it is, but he's talking about how the healing, how the patient is the doctor. Like 95% of healing happens from because of like natural health is our way. Like we gravitate towards healing anyway. We don't actually, I can't, I wish I could remember what the quote was. But when it comes to psychosis, the longer I am processing all of these things and the more experience and education I get, my definition of what is an illness changes. What is wisdom? What is the gift? In the old native ways, someone who has these tendencies would be taken under the wing of elders in the tribe who help them use it for for the betterment of the people as a whole. And I just think we have so much to learn about learning from people who are in psychosis, not just how to get out of it.
All right, yeah. Yeah, that's all the questions I've got for the study. So thank you so much for talking to me. Obviously, your answers have literally been amazing. Like they've been incredible. I feel like I've learned a lot just from listening to you talk. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Let me know if there's anything else that I can, any other questions you want to ask or any other way I can help. And other than that, then we just, me and my psycho buddy folks around the world will look forward to hearing your observations and conclusions.
I'll say I hope they like it. And also once the paper is written, I can send it to you as well. So you can have a look at the finished piece of work I've got.
I would love that. And we've got
All
less than
right.
a minute, so perfect timing.
All right. Well, thank you so much and just wish you the best of everything.
Thank you, Daniel.
Bye.
Bye.